So, as our previous speaker, Mr. Vineet Prasad, emphasized on what are the practical knowledges required for a engineering graduate to get more job opportunity and how to get more light onto the industrial situation, like reading newspapers and small stuff, even writing papers, how it can be helpful for us and why a master's degree can elevate your career status. So this was this key insight on the topic that we are continuing, careers of change. Our next speaker here is Preeti Gopal. She is an alumni of 2008 ECE batch from PEC. She has earned her PhD degree from IIT Bombay recently. She specializes in the field of signal processing for image analysis and algorithms for medical image computing. She has also worked briefly with industry and has been in a startup in the past. More importantly, she is vegan and she supports it for all the right causes, including the solutions for climate emergencies as well. So, ma'am, with this diverse CV, I would like you to give your precious insights on the topic. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. First of all, I would like to thank Shanti Saman ma'am and the entire team for organizing this. So I was part of one such event back in 2007, and I know the amount of effort that it takes to make this happen. So I'm really glad to share my views about my journey over the past 12 years. And so I'll just go ahead. So I've prepared sort of a brief presentation, which is not very concrete, but it will guide me and probably keep you entertained when you just have to see my face. So the topic I've chosen is careers of the future, and it's sort of very imaginary one, because no one really knows. I never imagined what will the future look like back when I was studying, but based on some insights, I'll try to give my thoughts. So I am sharing my screen here. I am not being given the permission to share my screen.
I didn't get any request yet. Can you do the present now thing again?
Yeah, so present now your entire screen. You can't share your screen. You must grant permission not to share your screen. Okay, no problem. I'll just continue. So with the presentation, that's okay. Maybe you can just listen to me. So I'll start with what are the stages in a career in general. So when we move out of our college, we generally take up the jobs that we get. So you'll always start with what is there, and not sort of bang your head as to what you want to do. You out of the options that you have, you pick the best that you want, and the one that you're interested in the place that you like. So you pick from what is available. But slowly, as you move ahead, you will have the power and the freedom to insert few features and design contributions in your work, which will modify the product. So it can be, so I'm not telling this especially for software. I'm telling it in any domain. So you can be in policy, in any department, even in core research. But as you move ahead, you will have the freedom to sort of modify the nuances or the features of your work. So that's when you can work with the details. And as you move even further, let's say after a few years, you might have someone in your network and come up with an idea and start your own venture. So you can become an entrepreneur at that stage when you feel, no, I have to create something from the scratch which will have a vision that I want for the world, and you can build your own venture. And the last stage is when you have sufficient power in terms of finances. You can probably put your money as a venture capitalist into other projects which you believe in. For example, if I believe in animal rights, so I will put my money on research that goes on, developing alternatives that don't use animals in research labs, or that don't use animals for cosmetics, for example. So I have the power to donate money and to fuel projects that I'm interested in. So all along, it's not about jobs that are available. It's slowly how you start from what's available to what you want to create. Eventually you will have it, and it's a very long time. We'll all have a 30 plus years to work. So there is, the first job is definitely not the end all of it. Because you'll have a long career. It's like a marathon, so you just have to take the ride and have fun, and slowly you'll have the power to change the things that you want to change. But there are few things that will remain constant. That is throughout one's career, and I'm going to list a few features. And just this is for the students, especially for students of final years, maybe for them to keep in mind about their long career. The first one is being adaptable to changing technologies. So just to give an example, back in 2012, when I was graduating from my master's, machine learning was not quite a thing, and 2014 also, deep learning was just picking up some steam. But right now, in this span of 6 years, after I graduated out of my PhD, machine learning, deep learning, data science, these seem to be a completely new field which affects everything. So wherever you have a sensor now, be it a camera or a thermal sensor, an infrared sensor, anything, wherever you have a sensor, you can use the data that is stored in the sensor, and then you can use it in a way that will enhance the life of people, or can harm the life of people. So I never thought that this field will even exist a few years back. And frankly speaking, the skills that I learned in my bachelor's and master's, they are far obsolete, and I need to learn new skills almost every year. So it's good news in the sense you don't need to stick to something, but it doesn't mean that you don't take anything seriously, which is why I'll go to the next point, which is working deeply, which is the ability to dive deep into a work and not get distracted and focus on that work. So this one attribute. So it is, you can all read a book called Deep Work by a person called Cal Newport. So he writes how this one ability will stay with a person forever. So the technologies will keep changing, but your ability to focus in a very distracted environment, like you can, especially in computer science when you work, and then the next tab will have a social media account, the next tab will have news, and the next tab you will have an email open. So it's hard to focus on the tab in which you are working. So as the medium in which there is a lot of distraction, if you are able to work deeply for, let's say, 2 hours undistracted work, and that will pay very well. So that's a feature number 2, which will stay forever with people. And the next feature is seeking mentors. So I feel when I choose a project for my next work, even after my bachelor's or master's, is look for mentors in your workplace, or choose a project in which that you are already looking up to a person whom you want to be. So like, I want to be like, how this person works. So if you feel that way, you will have a very satisfying workplace. It's one person whose qualities you like because of the way the person shows up at work and manages his team. So it is and that person is not your competitor, but you look up to him or her. So seeking mentors is a very good I think behavior, and it will really help to grasp those qualities. So I have made sure I had mentors, a few years after my bachelor's, and I still I still remember them fondly. And although I'm in contact with only a few of them, but their way of working means they'll work deeply, they'll care for the project, and they'll care for the project beyond the conflicts of the team, and and uh, and work very tirelessly, and treat every new member of the team with respect. So I still remember them. So seeking mentors is still, I think, it's a very important feature. And the next feature that I wanted to talk is about changing job definition. So what is a job actually? Its definition will change. There will be more freelancing in the future, which means you might not work for a company for a long time. You might work for multiple companies for a couple of months, and you might get your contracts by email, and you might get your tasks by on the go through email. You work from home, you do a job. If needed, you go to a public place, meet people, and have a discussion. Again, you deliver your work, and your current employer will write your recommendation, which the next employer probably will read and will hire you for a similar job or for a different job. So you build your reputation project by project. Like let's say you are publishing for a newspaper. Every article that you write for a particular column in a newspaper, now that will be your resume for the next freelancing content writing for a website, let's say. So I think freelancing will be more. People working on shorter contracts will be more. People working from home will be very common, not because only of the pandemic, but because commuting will be headache. It's more expensive for the companies to keep people, in a big office and manage. So as Google Meet, Zoom, Skype, everything develops, people will be working from all kinds of places, including from from a village to, if they are on a vacation, probably they should not work. But what I'm trying to tell is the geographical location will no longer be the barrier. And the last thing that I think I believe that whatever job you take, be it in policy, technology, research, teaching, and law, or building things, the common theme will be one. It will be equality for all. So can you disseminate information equally to everybody without bias? Can we ensure that there is less false information on the internet? Can we give equal facilities to people from different backgrounds? So equality will be sort of a common thread to whatever project you take up. And it doesn't mean only at the policy level. It means, like, if you're working in a finance company, is it accessible to a rural person who is in agriculture? Or equally, it should be accessible to him. Otherwise, it will not. Otherwise, there will be some other person who will give access to every person. So ensure that there is equality for all. And second, it will probably become very difficult to create something in which you don't take climate change into account. So this generation, the generation that will work for the next 50 years, we cannot just work in any fancy project that we want to, but there are some projects that we have to work, because it's not climate change anymore, it's climate emergency, which means it's already, the polar ice are melting. So if you're working, for example, in the biggest company, Google, you will automatically work at how to store all this information in an energy efficient way. If you're working in if you're working in policy, you will ensure that I cannot give environmental clearance to every factory and construction facility that wants to open in my neighborhood. So climate change will be the underlying theme, and we have to reverse it and bring it back to the 1950s, and when the air, water was clean. So that the onus of that will lie with our generation. So how we work. And I think I'm already running out of time, but I just want to tell one last thing, that there is no difference largely between electrical department, electronics, and civil, mechanical, biomedical, and other departments. So most real world problems will be interdisciplinary. So if you are don't limit your interaction to people in your department. You have to, people from electronics should be talking to people from mechanical, and vice versa. People from chemical should be talking to people from computer science, and vice versa. So we are not isolated. And the biggest example is, you can consider the COVID issue. It has a medical aspect to it of how it affects our health. It also has a economic aspect to it of how it affects people differently if they are from different sections of a community. And there's a technological aspect to it. How do you test it? How do you ensure that people are seamlessly working from home through technologies that I'm currently using now, Google Meet? So there are so many aspects to it, and if everybody works independently, we are not going to solve a big problem. So there is, as you go to into real world problems, you'll understand that there's no computer science, there's no electronics, there's no mechanical. There's one problem which has all the aspects of it. So you better talk to everybody. You talk to your friends who are doing law, talk to your friends who are doing economics and other things. So you bring your expertise, but the problem will be very interdisciplinary. So this is all I wanted to tell in a very short period of time. Thank you so much. And if there are some questions, I can take it up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Did I rush? I don't know.
No, you are perfectly fine. You explained a lot about how all the departments that we have are kind of interlinked. Your current work
very much.
Your current work is greatly enhanced. Like right now in this situation where there's a medical emergency, how is this image analysis things and all helping? And how is medical industry being helped by computer science? How would you?
How's So these are times when medical imaging and computer science are going together. So computer science will develop, at its base it will develop theorems and proofs. So computer science is not coding anymore. I mean, it is definitely not coding. So it will if you're using an algorithm. Okay, for example, if the doctor does a biopsy of patient and takes a small tissue out of the throat, in the earlier days that biopsy used to be put under a microscope, and there will be a pathologist who used to see, there are pathologists who will see, how many cancerous cells are there and how many non-cancerous cells are there. And now, because the number of pathologists in the country are far lesser than the number of people who end up having these diseases, we need to aid the pathologists to save their time, to tell, hey, look at these slides, and you need not look at these slides. So if there are 100 people coming for something, in the computer algorithm, so I'll feed an image of the slide to the computer. The computer will do the analysis. It will find out what is the level of severity of the or the extent of cancer in the cells, and it will intimate the pathologist, hey, this case is very serious, can you look at this? So ultimate decisions will be made by a human, but it will be aided by a computer. So wherever there is imaging in medical science, be it CT, MRI, biopsy, reading slides with human cells in it, you feed the image to a computer and it will process it. to an extent that it aids humans in making decisions.
Thanks a lot. That was a very deep insight into the matter.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We are also a bit short on time, so we have to
Yeah,
stick
yeah.
to our
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shanti, ma'am.